My name is Clay Clark, and I am the CEO of Thrive15.com. Today, I have the opportunity to be joined with Lee Cockrell. This guy used to run Walt Disney World Resort, and he's going to teach us the when, the why, and the how as it relates to firing people. Now, nobody wants to fire people, but in your business, in my business, there are people that just simply cannot perform, and we need to learn how to effectively, swiftly, justly, and really in a humane way, be able to promote these people to customer status. Having bad people or people who just don't know how to perform a job well in your business could be costing your company millions of dollars. Nobody wants to irritate customers, and customers simply are not coming back if the service or product is bad. And so we all need to learn how to fire people. It's nothing fun to talk about, but it's something we all need to know. At Thrive15.com, we believe that knowledge without application is meaningless. So as you're watching today's episode, take the time to ask yourself what you need to do to uniquely apply these principles in your own life and business. Because if not, today's episode will be more meaningless than last year's calendar. All right, Lee, now we're going to talk about some difficult stuff here. Stuff that, my background consulting with a lot of, whether it be a neurologist or a doctor or a roofer, doesn't matter what business I'm working with. This is the subject that nobody wants to talk about, so we're just going to get into it. Let's pretend that I'm working for you and I need to be fired. What I want to talk about now is what leads up to being fired, because no one gets blindsided at Disney. No one ever got just fired. No one said, oh, I didn't know. So everyone knew where they stood. But we're going to get into what leads up to being fired and then what you actually say when you have to fire somebody. So here we go. How do you know, first off, when it's time to let somebody go?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as soon as you start to see a performance issue that you're not happy with, and let's say you've set the expectations, they're doing things you've trained them not to do, coming to work late, a lot of mistakes on their work, not getting their work in on time, the obvious things that can happen where it leads to termination, unlike if somebody's fighting or drunk on the job, they get fired immediately, but and they know that in advance. But making sure you've done all your work and you see it. So I tell people, the first time you see non-performance, deal with it. Don't let it go. Don't close your eye because I'll give them another. The minute you see it, you stop. You discuss it. If it continues, and at Disney, it's kind of a discretionary thing. Once or twice I may talk to you, but the third time I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to put it in writing exactly what the problem is, and I'm going to tell you that this needs to improve, or you're going to be terminated.
And do you have me as the employee initial that we've had this conversation?
Oh yeah, we both sign it.
So we both sign this document.
And sometimes I even have HR in there to witness it.
Okay, so you're formalizing that there's an issue. We both are signing
formalize the issue.
Okay.
And so sometimes you get turnaround right away.
Yeah.
It's over. If it continues, then we developed a document called Disney Great Leader Strategies, and we decided what the timetable would be. So I might call you in, you've been there a while, and you've done a pretty good job in the past, but now you're not, and we've led up to this. I'll bring you in, and I'll prepare this document about why your performance is not good. Examples of, this report was due on Friday, you were a week late on it. You were late to work 3 times last week, whatever. And I said, I'm now putting you on a probationary period of 90 days, that at the end of 90 days, if you have not improved, you're going to be terminated. People will often say, why do you have to say terminated? Because, first of all, you got to say terminated because legally, I need to tell you what the consequence is going to be. So when you go to file unemployment, you're not going to get it.
Okay.
Because you were terminated. You didn't. For cause.
Yeah.
And you need to know clearly. It might help you turn this around when you know that it's real. It's not just we'll have consequences or we're going to keep talking about this for the next 2 years.
Okay.
And so you can decide 90 days or 180 days depending on the situation. I think Disney's moved more to 90 days. Sometimes we'll have a situation where we're willing to go 180 days if there's some kind of circumstances with health or something that's causing it. And then we meet with them every 2 weeks and go over progress. And usually by then, we have somebody sitting in with us, so there's not that, he didn't tell me that, he didn't tell me there's an HR person or a witness. And go over it and say, John, it's still a problem this week and it's not getting any better, or these two things you are doing better, but we still got this issue with attendance, and then at some point, it'll never be a surprise at Disney that you're getting terminated.
And then what do you say? You're sitting across the table from me and it's time to be fired. What do you say to me?
I call you in and I say,
You're fired.
you know what I used to do when I was a young manager and didn't want to fire people? I'd call them in and I'd start going blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't get to that. That's it, it's over.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd get up and leave and think you've been promoted. I mean, because I
You'd
was
start
so
talking-
nervous.
You start talking about all the great things they did. Hey, you're a good guy. We
So
like.
now I tell people, when you call them in, I'd like to see you at 10 o'clock in the morning. John, thanks for coming in. First thing I want to tell you is you're being terminated today. And now I'm going to spend the next hour telling you why, so that you don't repeat this. So hopefully in your next job, this is never going to happen again. I'm going to spend, instead of me spending an hour up front and then telling you at the end.
So you start off by saying,
just
hey,
get it over with.
Now, did it ever feel good, or did you always
No,
feel?
it never feels good. It feels horrible. And you feel sorry for people because they're usually good people. They got families, got children. They got
People have kids, people have wives, people have husbands.
It never feels good. It's the worst thing you have to do is
Yeah.
to terminate somebody.